Hello, everybody. I'm Miss Lisa, and welcome back to another episode of Woke Art for Kids. Today, we are talking about African American voices, February 11th, and I want to do a project based on the book Antiracist Baby by Ibram Kendi. This book is illustrated by Ashley Lukachevsky. Now, the book itself is very interesting because the concept of racism and the history of racism and why we are where we are today is quite complicated, isn't it? There's a lot in the past that has happened and there's a lot that's going on, but there are ways that we can teach children how to have how to have a positive influence in how the world turns out. Okay, we want to understand the concepts and we want to go forth in a positive and encouraging and understanding way. We want to accept each other and we want to work together to make the world a better place. So he wrote this book as a means of starting conversations with small children. I don't think he expects babies to understand the concepts involved. I don't think he expects small children to understand the concepts involved, but we can help by discussing what the content of the book means. And I think that it's very useful for parents and older siblings too, because he does give 9 points that he puts down, that he gives to the reader to help them become an anti-racist baby or become anti-racist in their views. And if you are anti-racist already, then you understand. You understand everything about this, and that's wonderful. If you're not yet there, it's a good thing to think about, definitely. It's definitely a good thing to think about. So let me see what we have for you today. I have a project where I took those 9 points that Kendi wrote for us and I translated them into single, simple pictures. I gave them a small drawing or a small painting that will help us remember what the concept was about. So there are 9 concepts. I have 9 pieces of mini art here, and I'm going to discuss each one of these with you. Now, how did I find these little pieces of paper? You might be wondering. And if you want to follow along with me, you can use Post-it notes like this, or you can make your own paper the size of Post-it notes. And that's what I did. I started out drawing a simplified rough draft of each of these on a Post-it note. And then when I was happy with that, I went on to taking a piece of art paper, my Canson art tablet here. I ripped out a piece of this mixed media paper, and that piece of paper just happened to be this big if I put all these squares together, which just happens to be the same size as 12 Post-it notes. So I took my one big piece of paper and I folded it in thirds this way, and I folded it, and then I cut them apart on the fold line. The fold line was just a guideline. So by dividing the paper in thirds this way, you can find 2 lines to cut along, like this, and then you'll have 3 pieces of long paper strip, and then I cut each of those into fourths. And that's how I got my 12 squares. Now you're saying, okay, so she's got 12 squares and we only need 9 pieces to do this project. And that's true. So these 3 are extra. I just wanted to show you how I got the 12 pieces spaced on one piece of paper. So now we've got 9 pieces of paper and we have 9 ideas. And I'm just going to read you the ideas one by one. The first idea is open your eyes to all skin colors. And so for that idea, I made a symbol. I took an eye, a drawing of an eye or painting of an eye, to be the symbol for open your eyes. And these are some of the skin tones that skin color and skin tone means the same thing. But from using one little watercolor set here, we can make all sorts of skin tones, and I want to show you some of those today. So open your eyes to all skin colors, number one, because they're all beautiful. Skin tones are just beautiful. Number two, use your words to talk about race. We know that there's a problem with race in this country. We know racism exists. We know that many people are affected by it. And we have to talk about it, because if we don't, nothing happens, nothing gets done. So it's very important when you see racism, when you feel the effects of racism, talk. You have a mouth, use your words to talk about race. Number three, policies, not people, are the problem. Okay, what does that mean? Well, policies are like rules. So your school probably has many policies about things that you can and cannot do. And you don't want to break the rules. So policies to me are like black and white. Now, policies have never been fair. They have, in our past, been very much, many policies have been written to prevent Black people from going forward in life. And this is very unjust. These inequalities are what have caused a lot of the problems with racism in this country. So policies are the problem. And like I said, I think of policies as being rules. So I see them in black and white. And that's why I used this black and white squares to represent policies. Let's see what this one is. There's nothing wrong with people. Okay, there's nothing wrong with people. It's just that the policies have prevented Black people from going further with their lives, and sometimes that is a problem. Sometimes people never get out of poverty. Sometimes they are sent to jail too often. Okay, a lot of the people are not the problem. It's the policies that were written unfairly that have caused the problems. So this is what there's nothing wrong with people means. Oh, there's a beautiful one coming up. What does that mean? Celebrate our differences. Skin tones, like people, are beautiful. Okay, there's nothing that says that your skin tone is better than somebody else's skin tone. And there's nothing that says a certain group of people is better than another group of people. If you say a certain group of people is better than another group of people, that is a racist idea. So all skin tones are beautiful. All people are beautiful. Knock down the stack of cultural blocks. What does that mean? It means that we all have our beliefs, and a lot of those beliefs have to do with how we were brought up, which have to do with our culture, our traditions, and if we don't share ideas, we're like these little circles up here with barriers between them. These are barriers. And all of our ideas stay within our own group, and all of somebody else's ideas stay with their own group. There's no mixing of ideas, no mixing of cultures. And I find this very sad when it happens, because if we mix our cultures together and our ideas together, we have a lot more ideas coming from such a situation. where we can talk openly about different cultures and their traditions and their beliefs. And it's just, they're celebrations, right? It becomes much more interesting for everybody. And that's sort of, when you think about it, the basis of a multicultural arts center is to celebrate all cultures, identities, and beliefs and traditions and celebrations. So that's really cool. Now, what is this blue one over here? Confess when you're being racist. Okay, we all make mistakes, and maybe you honestly didn't know that something you said was racist. That happens, right? You just didn't know. And if someone says, hey, you're being a racist, and you think about it and you think, oh yeah, I am, that's really not on. Always apologize, say, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. But I made the square blue because when you do something that makes you sad, you feel blue. So this is a blue square because colors are often associated with feelings. Sometimes blue means calm and peaceful, but you can also say I'm feeling blue when you feel sad. And I think when we make mistakes, it always makes us feel a bit sad, right? Especially as we feel like we hurt somebody. So I made that square blue. Now we have a green square. What do you think that one means? It's another color code. We have blue being sad. Green is for growth. Have you ever thought about how green means growth? And there's always a lot of green in the springtime when the new plants are coming out, the new leaves are coming out. So green stands for grow to be an anti-racist. Grow to understand what you're saying and what you're doing, and be a better person if you understand that you've done something wrong. Now look at this one. This is a lovely heart. What does that mean? It means believe that we can overcome racism with greater understanding, greater appreciation, and respect and love for each other's cultures and each other's persons. We're going to be stronger together and happier and more inspired, and we'll be a better people and a better country. A better world, right? We all have to live together. Let's do it in a nice way. So that was the idea behind this project. Now what I want to do is help you make your own little cards, because what you can do is you can reuse these to remind yourself something that you wanted to say. So if I hold up this one and in the morning I wake up and stick this on my dresser, I can say, that reminds me, celebrate our differences, skin tones are beautiful, and people are beautiful. If I put this one up on my desk, it will remind me to think about what I'm saying, and if I say something wrong, it's going to make me feel sad. If I say something racist, it will make me feel sad, and I should apologize and learn from that, right? Okay, so let's do this all together now. With your cards in front of you, and if you don't have cards yet, use Post-it notes, and if you don't have Post-it notes, just follow along. Just draw these pictures on a piece of paper, and you can always go back and do them again, or you can stop the video and get some cards to work on. Either way. Okay, so I'm just going to move these out of the way a bit, and I'm going to start by drawing an eye. Open your eyes to all skin colors. So we're going to be going curved line up, and can make a little shape like that, or you can just make a curved line. Doesn't really matter. Make it a little bit flat on the bottom. You don't have to. You can just go curved line up, curved line down. And I'm going to make the eyelid. So we have an eyelid at the top of our eye. And I'm going to put the iris in here. The iris is the colored part of the eye. And it usually peeks out from under the eyelid, like so. And it usually is a little bit tucked underneath the lower eyelids. You can imagine the circle is a little bit hidden by the top eyelid, and it's a little bit hidden by the bottom eyelid. I mean, the bottom of your eye, there's no eyelid there. And then I'm going to put in the pupil, which is the black dot in the center of the eye. And I can make some eyelashes. They attach to the end of your eyelids. And down here they attach to the little bit of your skin near your eye. Okay, so here we have an eye. Open your eye to all skin colors. Use your voice to talk about racism. So we're going to make a mouth to symbolize that, to symbolize speaking. And a mouth will be this shape, kind of like a mountain, kind of like a bird flying. And then the lower lip is just a little curved line like this. And then we can make, you can either just go straight across if you like, or you can make this little bit that dips down on the top of your upper lip. Okay, use your words to talk about race. This one is the policies, not the people, are the problem. So this is the one about rules. So I'm going to divide my square into quarters so that I can have black and white squares to represent the policies. This one, the people are good. There's nothing wrong with the people. So I'm going to make some people. And they're going to be happy. There's nothing wrong with the people. Celebrate our differences. Skin tones like people are beautiful. That's what we're going to do with this one. So I'm going to divide this into 9 squares. So it looks like this now. They don't have to be perfect. Okay, this one is break down the cultural barriers. So let's first draw 4 different cultures represented by these circles. And each one is separate. So we're going to put in the little walls between them, between these two as well, and between these two. They're all separated by their cultural walls. So if we break those down, we're going to get a mixing of cultures. And in this case, I symbolized that with a line that kind of looked like it would have gone around these shapes, but I'm not even going to do that this time. When I paint it, I'm going to put no borders around it. It's going to be a nice mixing of cultures. Okay, this one we don't have to draw anything on because this is, I feel, blue. It's going to be blue. This one is I'm growing. It's going to be green. And then this one, believe that we can overcome racism. Okay, we're going towards greater understanding, love, and respect. So basically, this is going to be a nice heart. We're going to start out with a heart shape, a nice big heart shape, so we can put more heart shapes inside it. And a heart you can draw by making a curved line. Kind of goes first a little diagonal, and then a curved line, and then a diagonal that comes down. So a little diagonal that goes up, and then a curved line, and another diagonal that goes down. So now we're going to practice that a few more times by making hearts inside. Diagonal down, a little diagonal up, a curved line, and a diagonal down. We'll do it again. Little diagonal line, curve, diagonal down, okay. So now we've got our 9 pieces of paper, and we're going to paint them. I'm going to start with the ones that are plain colors. So I'm going to start out with the blue. I'm going to use a fair amount of water in there so I can get the paint to move nicely. And I'm just going to paint over this. This is my blue square. If you find the paint doesn't move fast enough for you, you might need to add more water into it so that the paint isn't super dry. It's actually a little bit wetter than normal maybe, but it makes it move a lot easier. So there we have our blue square. And now we're going to go on to our green square. I'm going to go on to the policies square. I'm going to take my black and paint 2 of these squares black and leave 2 of them white. And now I'm going to let's do the mouth next. Use your words to speak about racism. And I'm going to use brown. I'm also going to make this eyelid brown and paint your own eye color. What color are your eyes? My eyes are brown, so I'm going to go ahead and paint the irises brown too. I guess the iris, I only have one eye in this drawing. If you have blue eyes, you can make the iris blue. The iris is this round part in the middle, and the pupil sits inside the iris. So when people say, what color are your eyes? They're actually asking you what color are your irises. And I'm going to let this dry for a little bit, and then I can put the pupil in there with the black paint. Okay, the people. There's nothing wrong with the people, right? So they're happy. And I'm going to start out by using a little bit of brown, putting some water in there. Let's make this one brown. Now let's get some other skin tones going here. I'm going to take some brown and I'm going to put it here in the lid. This is my mixing palette. I'm going to take a little bit more brown and put it here. And watch what happens if I take a little bit of blue and mix it into this brown. I get a lovely dark, rich color. Now what happens if I take orange and mix it in to the other brown? Get a little bit more orange in there. I'm also going to try a little bit of red. If you mix up some orange first with red and yellow, and then you put a little bit of blue in it, you should be able to get a skin tone. Oops, that was a lot of blue. Because my blue was already really wet. Let me go back and get my red. That's better. I just want it to look a little bit different than the first color that I put down. You can always lighten your colors by going over it with a drier brush. So if I put my brush on the paper towel, that soaks up some of the liquid, and when I touch my brush back on the paper, it pulls out some of the color. So now I've got 4 different skin tones. And now we're going to make some more. Okay, we're going to be putting all sorts of skin tones on here, and I'm going to be doing these 3 all together because they're all going to require that I mix skin tones. So let's start with the brown first of all. And also I'm going to put some of this down here. It's the blending part. So I'm going to put some lovely brown in there. I'll put some here. And now I'm going to make brown and blue mixed. In fact, I'll just use this one here that I mixed up before. A lovely deep rich brown. I'm just going to put some of this in here. Let it mix by itself. I'm going to use some of this brown orange color. I think I'll put that here. It's close to this one that we put down first, but not exactly the same. Okay, now I've got to think of 5 more skin tones to put on here. So let me start by showing you how to mix another deep, dark, beautiful brown. I need to have some brown on my palette here. I'm going to put some on the other side too. And now I'm going to go into the blue and get that nice, dark, rich color. And you can always test it on your paper towel to see what it looks like before you put it on your paper. I'm leaving little white spaces between them so they won't all run together. I also wanted to put some of this deep, dark, rich color in this one too. We need some of the red one here. Now I'm going to take my brown and mix some yellow. I'm also going to take this color and just put more water in it, and that will lighten it because you'll see the paper, the white of the paper coming through. Let's go ahead and do another brown and blue. Now, you see what happened here? My blue is very wet already, so I picked up too much blue. If that happens to you, all you need to do is go back into the color that you were mixing with it first. Take some more of that color, and then it goes back to a skin tone. It's no longer blue. And if it's still blue, put some more brown. And there you have it. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you followed along. Oh, we forgot to put the pupil in the eye. Hold on. So now what you can do is use your cards to help you remember how to be an anti-racist. And that's always a good thing to try to do. I hope you enjoyed this. Take care. Stay safe. Goodbye.